The first step to reclaiming your soul is by claiming the superior title of your birth certificate. To claim your birth certificate, backed by the Setseq V Trust's estate assets, you need an authenticated birth certificate. Your birth certificate is the title to your first, middle, last name, just like you hold a title for ownership of your car. Why do we need to authenticate your birth certificate? You may have your original copy of your certificate, but it's only a certified copy, not the original. Title 28 U.S. Code 1733B says, properly authenticated copies or transcripts of any books, records, papers, or documents of any department or agency of the United States shall be admitted in evidence equally with the originals thereof. So we need to take your copy and authenticate it. If you don't have a certified copy, go to your local public health department or contact the one within the state you were born and purchase a copy. With this copy, we take our first step. You need to send your birth certificate.
Had an interruption there.
Certification with a document authentication request form to the Secretary of State or Lieutenant Governor for your birth state. There is a section asking what country your birth certificate will be used in. Search for a list of non-Hague countries and choose one. You don't need to be very selective for the country because it won't be used later. If you choose a Hague country, there are established treaties where your birth certificate is accepted as is by those countries without authentication, and that would give grounds for the government to reject your request because it's not needed. The rest of the form requires your contact information, fees and processing, delivery options, and credit card details. You'll want to put your documents in a hardcover envelope with another return label on a hardcover envelope for them to return. A flexible envelope may mean your documents will be damaged. If your state does not accept credit cards, then provide a postal money order for the fees. It varies from state to state, but it can take up to 30 days to process and be returned. Once you receive your state's authentication, you'll notice they have attached and stamped the corner of your authentication. Now, you need to move to the next step. You'll be sending your birth certificate and state authentication now to the U.S. State Secretary using Form DS-4194, Request for Authentication Services. Fill out Section 1. Then, in Section 3, select Self-Addressed Stamped Envelope. In Section 4, enter the same non-Hague country and the number of documents, usually 1, and the document type, birth certificate. You'll be including a $20 fee per document by using a U.S. postal money order or check made to U.S. Department of State. For both of these steps, if you're sending multiple birth certificates, for example, one for each spouse, you'll need to provide a request document for each certificate as well as payment for each. You may not hear back for 30 days, depending on how many requests they're processing. What you'll receive back is a double authenticated birth certificate, as well as an important number at the top. This is called your annex number, and you'll need to send that to us if we're processing your trust, or if you're doing this yourself, this will be important later on. This now means that you have successfully annexed your certificate out of the jurisdiction of the U.S. corporation and can now place it in your trust with full faith and credit. Your trust will now own your first, middle, this document is on par with the original, and now something we can use within your trust.
That first authentication was $20.
Of being a foreign record or outside the U.S. corporation jurisdiction. We recommend you get a binder to manage your documents. Place your new authenticated certificate inside a protected sheet to reference in the future. For those in the white glove, we'll provide this. One last thing is to create an affidavit of ownership, which we create for those in white glove, or you can download a version to use below.
All right, so that is really good news, getting our birth certificates switched back to what they are supposed to be, because that's where the straw man is at. And this is a process for getting access. I had a trust done last week. And the cost was $500. And it's an express trust. And it was done by debtlawyer.com. That's the link through the Mark Z. Bob Locke. This particular company right here, Freedom People, can do exactly what you need to be getting done, and they can teach you how, and that I haven't worked with them too much yet, but they have a more responsive website than Bob Locke does. So what I'll probably do is get my informational learning from here and do my actual filings for trust with Bob Locke. We have a birth certificate to put in trust so that we can access the straw man, and we are also putting our land into trust so that the state can't drive a highway through our property. I hope you find this information extremely valuable.